So for those of you who've never made butter before, it's so simple. It helps to have a mixer. So that could be a hand mixer, a blender. You need two ingredients, and one is double cream and the other one is salt, and the salt is optional. The rough guide is whatever you have in volume or weight, half of that will become butter. So let's say you've got 600 mils of double cream, roughly 300 mils of that will become butter, and the rest will become buttermilk. Now you can use buttermilk for making pancakes and scones, and you can drink it, you can do whatever you want with it. It's really good in baking. But I'm really just focusing on the butter making. And it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 3 is 18, so 1,100 mils of cream.
Pour in your double cream into your mixer bowl, and don't waste any of it because it's all very good stuff. I'm using a silicone spatula to scrape everything off. Now set your mixer on a medium speed and just start whipping it. Now, how long it takes depends a lot on how cold your cream is. If it's been sitting in the refrigerator or somewhere cool, then it can take longer to thicken up. If it's been sitting out at room temperature, it will turn into whipped cream much quicker and the process will be faster. So I'm just going to speed through this bit. I think this batch took approximately 6 minutes to turn into butter. You can see now it's starting to thicken up, and I'm just speeding up the whisking attachment. And as it starts to thicken up, I might slow it down just in case it starts splattering cream everywhere. Depends very much on how much cream you've used, how deep your bowl is, and the strength of your mixer. Wow, it's really getting thick now. And you want to get it beyond this stage so that it looks a little bit like scrambled eggs. And here I am just scraping down the sides, making sure all the whipped cream, which is quite firm, gets beaten by the whisk. If you listen carefully, the sound of the cream being beaten has changed now, and the buttermilk is beginning to separate from the butter fat. I think it looks a little bit like scrambled eggs now. And it's very, very close now to separating. I think some of the stuff in the center of the bowl is separating, but there's quite a lot of cream in there that you have to push to the middle to make sure everything gets incorporated really well. I'm having to slow down the mixer now because otherwise the weight of the butter fat, the actual butter, is going to start making the buttermilk splash everywhere. As you can see now, the butter fat has separated from the buttermilk, and this is where we stop the process. And we're going to have to remove the buttermilk from the butter fat, and which is actually the butter. So a lot of this butter now is trapped in the whisk and it needs removing and rinsing off. It's really important to get the buttermilk off the butter. So I've got a small colander here. You can use a large sieve. I've got a little bowl to help catch some of the liquid. There's still some more butter fat or prototype butter in the liquid that it's separated from now, and I'm going to remove that as well and rinse it under the tap. So it's at this stage that you can add a little bit of salt if you want to. And I rarely use more than a quarter teaspoon to a half teaspoon for a nice chunk of butter, as you see here on the mats on the counter. A little bit goes a long way. You can always add more if it's not salty enough, but it's hard to take away too much salt from butter. So just sprinkle it on the surface and then knead it in. The consistency of the butter, as you can imagine, is a bit like clay or plasticine. It's quite firm. Obviously, it's winter now and I haven't got the heating up too high. But if it was summer, it might be a lot softer and you'd have to work very carefully and quickly. So here I am now cutting each roll of butter into manageable size pieces. At this stage, you can shape it any way you like. You can roll it into little cylindrical logs, or you can make it square, whatever shape you want. And then I'm going to wrap it in parchment paper, each piece, and I'll be weighing it next. I'm weighing each individual chunk here, and I'll get a total count as to the weight of the butter, and it's over 800 grams. I spilt a little bit of the cream before I made the butter, so it should have been a little bit more than that, more like 900 grams, but there you go. Still very, very useful. Now I'm going to put each chunk of parchment wrapped butter into a freezer bag labeled with the date, and I'm going to pop it into the freezer for use as and when I need it. It should keep good for at least a month, if not longer. Certainly, I've taken homemade butter out of the freezer after 3 to 6 months, and it's been absolutely fine. So why don't you give it a try? If you find discounted cream, it's worth making butter. And I think you'll find it tastes really good. And once again, thank you for watching Sew, Grow and Cook. Hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.